Clarity is the first thing. And I'm talking about clarity for you in terms of, you know, what the heck do you want your business to be about? You know, Billie Jean told me that you guys are recording videos where you're saying, you know, that this is who you get, you know, ROI and results for, right? That's step number one, right? Is making sure just that you're really, really crystal clear. Here is who I'm going to serve and how I'm going to serve them and how I'm going to be different about that, right? Because in case you guys haven't noticed, there's a lot of people out there that we're competing against, right, in this industry. So just getting really, really clear on that. And that's hard work. How many people here for their business have like their mission statement really clearly articulated and written out? Handful of people. Core values. Okay, handful of people. Those are the types of things I'm talking about. It sounds floofy a little bit, maybe, you know, but when you start hiring people to work under you and you don't have that stuff clear and you can't tell them, hey, here's where we're going. Like, and if it's not super clear to you to be able to say, here's where we're going, there's the mountaintop, that's the mountain we're climbing, and that's how we'll know when we got there. If that's not just crystal clear to you, you can't expect it to be crystal clear for anybody else, can you?
And we're dealing with that shit right now as we're hit that 22, and now we're kind of like, holy shit, like we actually have to define these things because you have people who are working there, and I'm like, I don't even get to talk to them, which you don't think about that when you're at the smaller stage because you see everyone every day, and you're like, everyone kind of gets it. But when the second we're like, you're too busy, you can't even talk to your own people, and there's no guideline to set it up. This is exactly the kind of shit that we're like, oh fuck me.
And it's absolutely predictable. I mean, if I didn't come down to your office one more time for the next year, I could tell you exactly the issues that you're going through.
Yep.
Because you're just at that phase in this type of a business, right? Where all of a sudden, you know, you're adding millions of dollars of revenue, you're adding team, all that type of stuff.
And that's one of the books that you recommended, Scaling Up by Vern Harnish.
Yep,
that's what it's about. Like it tells you, like, if you're at this stage in business, this is what you're going through, and that's when you realize you're not fucking unique. Like you're just like every other business, and like you're going through growing pains like anybody else.
Exactly. Yeah. So clarity is number one. The last thing I would say about clarity is clarity about what you want from your business. Like, I don't think enough people talk about that. Like, it's so sexy to talk about, oh, his business went from, you know, 0 to 25 million, you know, over the course of 2 years or whatever the numbers are. And that's so exciting to just talk about those big numbers. But I have met so many entrepreneurs who have done that and are completely frickin' miserable. Seriously. Because if you think that shit gets easier because you added $25 million in revenue to your life in the course of 24 months, I can guarantee you, yes, there were a lot of things that got easier, I'm not gonna lie, and there are a lot of things that were more fun, you know, took his whole team to Disneyland recently, right? I mean, that stuff's awesome, but there's a lot of challenges that come with that. So what do you want from your business? When I was younger, I was like in Silicon Valley during the first like .com boom, and you didn't exist in Silicon Valley unless you would raise money from venture capitalists, right? You might as well just not exist. And so I bought into that like crazy, and I was completely miserable in that whole world. But I just bought into, well, that's what you had to do. And thankfully, for whatever reason, I had the presence to kind of step back and give myself the grace to say, hey, you know what? That may be right for a lot of people, and that may be the stuff that's getting all the headlines right now, but I need to figure out what's right for me. And just figure out, you know, hey, is that a little office by the beach like I have right now versus a bunch of offices across the country and a bunch of employees? Like, you know, what's right for me? So I would say just take the time, give yourself the time to get clear on that stuff and do it as early as possible. Like when you're just getting going and money's just coming in and you're kind of like just getting momentum, you may be looking at me going, Mike, what is all this shit? Like I don't have time to slow down and do this right now. But I'm telling you, if you want to go faster, it's the most important thing that you can do.
100%, and that's a mistake that I would say that we've made as an organization is seeing these challenges coming ahead and not doing anything about them until they come. Yeah. And so now we're at a point where we can't even grow right now if we want to because we're at capacity. We have 2,000 people in the gene pool now. There's about 600 or 700 of you guys. Then we have all of our agency shit, and it's just 22 of us in the office. And now we're actually at capacity in our office, as you guys were just in it, to even do. And so now we're in this predicament where we have to say, what the fuck are we going to do? So that's Daniel. When I brought in Daniel, I don't know if I get it. Where you at, Daniel? He's somewhere over there. Those are the discussions that we'll have, and he's our CEO. Those are discussions that we have, and we're trying to figure out, like, well, fuck, where are we going to be in those next 2-3 years? And what Mike's saying with the clarity is it's really a decision, right? We'll end up where we fucking choose to be. And so now we have to decide like what it is. And so this is really resonating right now. So you guys don't make the same stupid mistake I did.
I don't know about you guys, I always appreciate his authenticity, right? Because he's not just saying, oh, everything is perfect, right? So the first A in CARMA, A, stands for alignment then. And alignment, that's what he's talking about, you know, with team. And he doesn't even have time to talk to his team, right? And that's reality. That's what happens. There is a day, I guarantee you, some of the people that have been around Billie Jean, you know, since it was just Billie Jean doing the hustle, and he was talking to his close friends, and I'm sure he was like, come on, I'm going someplace, I promise. Like, just come and hang out with me a little bit. I promise you'll get paid, you know, at some point here, that type of thing. Those people that have been along for that ride, they bought into that vision a long time ago. They bought into Billie Jean a long time ago. And they used to have, I'm sure, endless FaceTime with Billie Jean every day. Like, every day it was just, all right.
Me and Rena used to eat together lunch every single day.
Totally, yeah. I mean,
now she just asked me to buy her food and send me a Venmo.
Yeah.
It's bad. It's very bad.
But as you grow, of course, that has to change, right? So how do you create alignment with your team? And again, that comes from clarity first, right? How do you create alignment? And whether this is, so like we right now don't have a lot of employees. We have lots of subcontractors. We have, you know, just contractors all over the world. It's the exact same thing. How do we create that alignment with all of them? And by alignment, you know, the clarity of that message about where we're going and, you know, why it's important that we get there and all that type of stuff. But then also just the practical stuff of how do we communicate as a team? How do I make sure that, you know, when I woke up in the morning and I said that my first priority, the biggest priority at the company was X, how do I make sure that the other people in the organization got that message and then know what to do with it? Right?
And do you mind sharing some of those? Because, I mean, you guys work with a lot of
sure,
contractors,
yeah.
like,
A bit abstract for me, I don't get it. So alignment is saying is communicating what you're being clear about. What is alignment? Can you define it?
Yeah, alignment to me is just, I mean, the simplest terms, just everybody knowing where we're going and how they fit into that.
So the distinction between clarity?
Clarity comes from you and your message. That is clarity. Clarity about your message, about where the company is going, who we are, what we're about, core values, all that type of stuff. Alignment is more of the practical, kind of like the handoff of that stuff. Like, how do I make sure that everybody in the company actually understands that message? I can guarantee you, as soon as you think that you're crystal clear about, hey, I've got that, everybody in my company knows exactly what I'm talking about. And then you go and you get all 25 people in a room and you ask them, you know, you guys know, right? Repeat it back. And you will get, I mean, it's like playing that game of telephone, right? And everybody's message is going to be different. And Jack Welch, you know, controversial guy, but I think one of the best managers maybe in history, and one of his famous quotes was that you have to just repeat your message so many times internally to your employees, repeat the same message so many times that when you're at the point where you're just like so sick of yourself saying the same thing and you're sure that everybody else is too, that's just about the point that you're doing enough of it. Like, that was the thing. Like, I have to make sure that I'm just drilling it in every day because people, you know, they've got their own priorities, they've got their own stresses.
And
They've
why
got a
don't
million
we
things
play
happening.
that game real fast of telephone with these first couple rows right here, just to kind of point out how important clarity and alignment is and how easily things can go out of alignment. And in the name of this Don Julio here, appreciate it. So I'm going to whisper something to Rena here. And then I will tell Paul and Nick what it is. We'll go over to my man in the hat right there, and we will see if the message is the same. Does anybody want to take bets on this? Does anybody want to vote that will get it right?
Yes.
Believe. Of
like,
course,
I'm
the
gonna get
first
it right.
person would say some shit like that. Yeah, that's going to work. Yeah. All right, you ready for this? Here we go. Let's see what happens. I'll tell them the truth of what it is.
Alfalfa is not a real person. Got it.
So, Candy, did we already fuck it up? Is it?
I don't think I'm allowed to say it again.
This is what you were talking about with repetition. You have to say it so many times so it doesn't get broken.
He's like,
Let's end it right there. Let's just play one row of it, and let's just see. Jason.
You ready?
Yes.
Elvis not a real person.
What was it?
Alfalfa.
Alfalfa is not a real person.
Oh, wow.
Alfalfa is not a real person, which is
bad.
obviously something we
Alfalfa
talk about
Elvis.
every day. So that was alfalfa and buckwheat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Silly fucking game, but what he's saying is so real. Even with just the 1 or 2 VAs that you have. Like, so remember earlier when I gave an example and I said, if you really want them to get it right, you need to video it a few different times and show them the video. Because a video, you can pause, you can rewind, etc. Messages get fucking broken down and out of alignment. Hashtag cool game.
That's right. All right, so the R stands for roles and responsibilities. Roles and responsibilities, okay? And that's one that, again, I think seems obvious to a lot of people. Okay, well, yeah, people have to know their roles and responsibilities. But being really thoughtful about what are the roles that I need in the organization to allow me to scale, right? To allow me to take that next step, or to allow me to focus on what I need to do and what I do best, right, at the organization, right? Billy Jean needs to sell. He needs to have his face on camera. He needs to be out there. That means he needs to have people on his team that can support all of the other things that need to get done. Having clarity about what those roles and those responsibilities are. And again, to try and make it practical tools, one of the most important things that we ever did in our company was we had what we called a passport. When somebody came on board as an employee, they got a passport. And their passport was a document that laid out, here's your role, here's who you report to, here's who reports to you, here's what your manager is expecting of you, the outcomes that manager is expecting of you, here's how they're measuring your performance, okay? And then what they had to do was then they had to take that passport. There was a reason it was called a passport is they had to get stamps on it where they had to go around to everybody else in the company in their first week when they were hired, and they had to find out what everybody else's roles and responsibilities were. And they had to be able to clearly understand that and communicate that to get a passport stamp on their passport. So just a simple little thing like that
That's good shit.
made a huge difference in people understanding, oh, wait a minute, I know what you do. I mean, how many people have started a job where you come in there and you sit down and somebody's like, all right, there's your keyboard, and there's where you get coffee, and good luck. And you're like, oh, shit, And it's like, it's kind of like 120 days before you feel like you're even contributing to the place. We can't afford that. Right? You can't afford to wait 120 days before somebody's contributing. Like, you got to get them up and running right away.
A mistake that we are currently making, because what happens is you get so caught up in your day-to-day shit that you feel like you don't have time to train. How many of you feel like that right now? If you hired someone, you just wouldn't even have the time to train them. That's part of the issue. You got to pump your brakes and set these things so you don't wind up in that situation and get stuck. And also, too, before I forget, roles and responsibilities, let's talk about a basic framework for your agency that we use, and you guys should write this down really quick. So when we were at most scale, and this goes back to what we talked about in the beginning of the day, of you need a predictable and consistent way of getting leads all of the time. You always have to be making offers. You got to be able to close. You got to be able to retain, right? And you got to be able to get them results. All those things come hand in hand. And so the basic framework of this agency model that we're laying out is this. And I'll give you guys a new page for it, my beautiful handwriting. So number one, for us, when we were really fucking revving it up, is we had an appointment setter. The appointment setter's entire job was to fucking book appointments for me at the time, sell, which is still my role. Now I just do it differently on camera with videos to the masses, etc. And then from there, you have the closer, which was me. And then from here, we had the account manager whose job was to get results and retain. Okay, this is really the framework of what we did. So Justin, who's in the back, he joined us. Everyone say, congratulations, Justin, on becoming a dad 2 days ago. Yeah. Again, for the second time. So, and Justin will tell you, he literally, what'd you do? You sat upstairs all day and you called people and you just said, can you schedule the time to talk with our CEO? Like straight up, that's all he did all day long. That was a whole job by itself. And then it would come to me, who would come in, do the damn thing, bring them through the walkthrough that you guys are familiar with, and good. And then from there, it would come to Rena, who was the account manager, and she would focus on getting them results. That was like our little 3-man/woman team to repeat again and again and again. And then as you got more accounts, we realized, okay, if it wasn't the same niche, Rena could handle about 30, 10 clients, but we need some people to help support this as we grow beyond that. So then we got more account managers, which Jordan and Rhea came into play. And then Rena was more overseeing what they were doing. Is that making sense to everybody? Is that helpful to kind of lay out and say, look, here's our first hires? So one thing that most of you probably need right now, and it only comes after you've mastered the results section for yourself. I see it happen too many times where you'll pawn off getting results on somebody else. That's the whole fucking business. You have to understand it yourself. So again, now, am I in there building Facebook ads campaigns? No, I haven't done that shit in 2 years. But at the high level, the strategic shit, you guys obviously know that's what I do. That's all I do. But you have to know that before you pass it. Then once you do, then you can get a Rena who's gonna come in and execute. But if not, then I wouldn't even know what they were doing, if they were doing it correctly, etc. So again, for most of you right now, the next step you're probably at is finding that account manager. And the more variables that you give them, the harder it is to train them. So that's why it's so important you focus on that niche, because they're gonna run into a lot of the same problems again and again and again, and they'll know how to handle them. But the second you gave them a chiro, a dentist, a gym, a physical product, and said, what the fuck, why aren't you doing anything correctly? Well, shit. You expected them to learn an entire decade what it's taken you guys to invest into your career in 2 months. It's unreasonable, okay? So, I feel you.
Yeah, and it's so important, if you're a one-person show, right? It's so important that you know from day one that you are doing all of those roles right now.
Yeah.
You have to know that. That's one of the biggest challenges I see in people growing their business is they just don't have awareness that they are actually playing multiple roles. And that they have to, at some point or another, if they want to grow, you have to peel off one of those roles and give it to somebody else, or there is no way that you're going to grow.
And you know what, Mike? I think a big holdback for you guys why you don't do that is because you look at the money, right? So for example, when if this is all just Billy, let's put a B right here, then I'm collecting all the money for 3 different jobs. So then when it comes to hire out, you say, oh, fuck, I don't want to pay somebody to schedule. That's going to kill my margins. Then you say, oh, shit, I don't want to pay a closer. That's going to kill my margins. Oh, shit, I don't want to do that. That's going to kill my margins. Oh, fuck, I don't want to report that on my taxes. That's going to kill my margins. So what you realize is the difference right now between an entrepreneur and an entrepreneur. You feel that? That's the difference, is to really make a profit and to go to where you want to go. This is the truth that you're looking at. It fucking sucks at first because it's like, holy shit, that looks expensive. But once you get these processes in place and you have them set up, that's what allows you to scale to the next level. But at some point, you have to have the honest conversation with yourself of, oh shit, I'm not going to make as much money as I thought I'm going to because I'm going to invest into other people. And if you're not willing to do that, your business will stay complacent where it is and you will not grow. Little truth hurts right there. Little truth hurts. All right.
Yeah, and a lot. I know a number of you know my business partner, Josh Clifford. We've been business partners now for over a decade. And I can still remember perfectly clearly, and he'll tell you this story. Like, when we started our first business, it was a service business just like that exact structure. And I'm a sales guy, and I'm running around selling. And I literally sat him down at a desk with a computer and a phone, and I said, one day, and I don't know when it is, but one day I'm going to make that phone ring. And when it happens, you better frickin' take care of the problem that's on the other end of that phone, or we're screwed. And he was just like, shit. He was like, no pressure. I was like, yeah, I know, I get it. But, he was the fulfillment guy. And I was the sales guy. So I was running around selling. And finally, got the phone to ring. And somebody said, hey, I need help, right? And thank goodness he took care of them. But then almost immediately after that, before I had 2 nickels to rub together, I went out and hired a salesperson. Because I knew with the business that we were trying to build, I could not be out feet on the street selling every day, or we just weren't going to get anywhere. I had to have somebody who was filling the pipeline all the time. And I hired that guy and got him out there. Like I said, we didn't have any money, at all. And it was just, creative selling on, hey, here's why you want this job, and here's why you're not going to get paid hardly anything right now, and yada, yada. But, made it work. And those two guys, man, both those guys were with me all the way through to the sale of the business. Because, why? Clarity and alignment. Clarity and alignment. Because I had a vision, and I could sell them, and I could get them excited about that. I could clarify for them what their roles were, what they needed to do to be successful, to make us successful, so we could get up that mountain. They were energized by that, and that's what allowed that to work. Okay? So roles and responsibilities, we did. Last one is ascension, or actualization. What's that? Oh, M, I'm sorry, M, measurement. M, measurement. Okay? Measurement is M. Okay? Finish the sentence. What gets measured gets, oh shit. What gets measured gets managed. Okay? If you guys need to drill that into your head before you leave this place. What gets measured gets managed. Okay? That is the perhaps most important single thing you can learn about how to run a business in terms of day-to-day operations and make it get better is you've got to measure the right things. If you are not measuring the right things, your business will not go in the direction that you want it to. Period, end of sentence. We are goal achievers. That's what entrepreneurs are. We are strivers. If you put a number up on the wall and you tell Billy Jean that's a 7, other people are at a 10. That dude is not going to sleep until he gets up past a 10, right? He's going to ram his head through a wall to get that number to a 10. That's what we do, right? So if you are not clear about, hey, this is my most important number, and this is the measure of success of that most important number, then you're in big trouble, okay? And then if you can't give that clarity to every single person on your team, you're in big trouble. My account manager, the number for them is how long does a client stay a client? Period, end of sentence. Yes, there's all kinds of other ways that I can measure you, but an account manager needs to know that their number one measure is how long does a client stay a client. If Billy Jean has gone out and done all the hard work, spent all the money to get a new client on board, and that client leaves after 4 months, the business is dead. The business doesn't work. You're on a treadmill. You got money going out to get clients and then going out the other side. Yeah, you had a client in between there, and woo, we had success because we brought somebody on board. It doesn't make any difference if they just go away 4 months later. You haven't made any money. You have not made any money. So that's their number. That's their metric. You've got to figure out those metrics. You've got to figure out that one metric that's most important right now for your organization. And then you've got to figure out those metrics for the individuals that are contributing to make that metric work. Okay? What gets measured gets managed. Most important management tip that I ever learned was from actually the partner of Vern Harnish at Gazelles that you mentioned scaling up. His partner is Patrick Thean, who now has his own business called Rhythm Systems. That's cool management tools and stuff like that to help you manage and grow your business. And his strategy, his approach, which I just absolutely love, was that every employee in the team, every employee in the company has their one metric, and they have to have it laminated, hanging on their office door or a wall or whatever it is, where it's completely visible for everybody to see. The goal number has to be up there, and then their current number where they're at has to be up there, so everybody can see it. And then they need to have a red, a yellow, or a green. Good old stoplight, right, system. We all understand it. Green, I'm on track to achieve my metric. Yellow, there's some risk, but I think I've got a plan to figure it out. Red, oh shit, I'm in trouble.
Fired.
When do you usually find that out, Mr. Manager and business owner? When do you usually find out there's a red light?
Too
like
late after the
45 days after it mattered?
Yeah.
Right? They have to have every single day, here's my green light, my yellow light, and my red light. And then he said the one thing that you need to do to be an effective manager is you just need to walk up to the person's metric hanging on the wall where everybody can see it, preferably when there's a lot of people around, cross your arms, look at it, and go, and walk away. And that's it. Because we've got that person there like, what the hell? Like, I'm working, I'm trying to make my metric work, right? But that's all you need. If they have that clarity and alignment to know that's my role and responsibility to make that measure, right, to hit that metric, then they can operate, they can run, they can do what he's expecting them to do, even if he's not there, even if he can't talk to him every day in person, right? So that's what it is. A then is actualization. or actualization and ascension. So actualization, what I mean by that, a couple things. This goes back to what I said around clarity about what you want as an entrepreneur, okay? As an entrepreneur, I guarantee you with all the success that you're going to have that you will get to a point one day where you will go, I've been working my ass off for years now, 80 hours a week, whatever it is, sacrificing this, sacrificing that, and then I'm not sure that I'm actually happy. I'm not sure that I'm where I want to be. And I think it's so important that you guys spend time on that. Like I said, give yourself the grace, give yourself the room to really think about that and to make sure that what you're doing with your business serves you and not the other way around. Way too many of us build businesses where we're just serving the business all day long. It's all about the business. Grow, 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 grow. But you started that business to serve you, right? There was something that you wanted personally out of your life that you said, hey, a business is the best way to get it. And for most of us, that's freedom, right? And then there's finances that typically go along with that. Some of you, it's like, man, I just want to be able to travel. I just want to be able to travel. Like, that's the most important thing. I want to be able to see the world, and I want to be able to work off of a laptop and a cell phone. I love it. I get it, right? Making sure that you're constantly checking in with that, okay? And then when it comes to employees, those of you who end up having a team, building a team, if that's what you're all about, I think the most important hard lesson that I've learned probably over the last 5 years in particular, I think I got this right earlier in my career, I think I've screwed it up pretty bad recently, is that there's a lot of people out there right now, really, really talented people, that pay is pretty freaking far down on their list of priorities. Right? Yeah, we all need to make ends meet, and we all know, but there's a lot of people out there that what they really care about is those things that we talked about first. What's the mission? What mountain are we climbing? Where are we going? What is it like to work with this team every day? Are we actually doing something? Are we actually creating something that I'm going to be proud of? Right? Do I have a group of people that I come to work with every day that I'm actually excited about and care about, and I know that they care about me? Right? Those things are so much more important than just pay. So when I say actualization, I'm talking about self-actualization, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? Once we get those base things kind of taken care of, hey, I'm paying my bills, I'm eating, all that type of stuff, the security issues are kind of taken out of play. How do you then create your business and create opportunities that allow the good people that are working with you, whether they're contractors or they're employees, to meet their needs? Because if you can do that, they'll be with you forever. They'll be loyal. They'll work like a dog. They won't feel like an employee. They'll feel like a partner because they'll do anything to win for you.
I'll throw something on that too. If I had to add a letter to this, if that's possible, because it's so much good shit, but would be F for flexibility. And what I mean by that
CAR-MA?
is... Yeah.
CAR-MA,
yes. CAR-MA. And what I mean by that is, as you're talking about like actualization and kind of understanding like what you want like from your business, why'd you start in the first place, to realize that that changes. So I cannot tell you when we first came in, it was like, well, fuck, I just want to make money and do all this ignorant shit and da-da-da. And then me and Rena were there, and we had like this cool client, and it was like all physical products. So like once we had the campaign, we didn't really do much. We're just like, fuck it, let's just go do whatever and just make sure these campaigns are going good. So then it became kind of like the freedom thing. And then when Facebook flew us to the office, for me, like my perspective changed to fuck. Look at the impact that this company is having on, yet alone the world, but the employees there. You walk around, they have a giant campus, and you just get all these vibes. I'm like, holy shit, like you only find so much happiness from the security. Once you get past the security thing, all of a sudden you start to think about like how you make your money, etc. And so I would say just keep that in mind. Like what you want right now, once you get there, your desires may completely change, which may change the way that you run your business. So for example, most of you know that like for many years, our focus was agency. There was actually a time where I didn't want to talk to anybody. It was only going to be physical products because I didn't want to fucking do that. Like I just wanted to be by myself. That's where I was at in my life. And now I can't imagine not fucking communicating with you guys every single day or listening to Casey and Ashley fucking yell at each other. Like I can't think about those things. You know what I mean? So that changed though. And who knows, it may change again where it's like, oh shit, we have so much content out in 2 years, where I say, fuck it, agency only, whoosh, and we back up. I don't know. So I would say just be open-minded to the fact that what you want now will change.
Yeah.
For sure.
Totally.
And how does that affect your business?
Yeah. And I think just to add to that, and I'll wrap it up real quick, is that we live in a world. I just read the statistics recently. It's shocking the number of people in America now, and in other countries, I think it's much higher numbers. But then the percentage of people in America now that primarily, kind of designate themselves as like being a part of the gig economy. They're not working for an employer. They're just, I've got talents and I'm just picking up jobs here and there, contracts here and there and stuff like that. I mean, we've been talking about that in the United States for quite some time, and the internet makes it, just easier to do that. But now it's like on a percentage basis, I think it's just now gone over 50% of people in America that say that is my, relationship in the work world, is I'm a gig economy, person. They have their own set of needs, right? It's different than an employee. The contract that we have as employer-employee is different than the one where, you know what, you could go get another gig tomorrow. I'm not paying you a ton of money. I'm not paying you full-time on all that type of stuff. I have to give you a reason to want to stay and do this work for me, right? Because what you guys all should learn very quickly from Billie Jean, if you haven't yet, is the beauty and the joy of firing a freaking client who's a pain in the ass, right? Woo! Yeah, woo! Yeah, you have to. You have to. And so you've got to figure out, well, how do I keep those people happy so they don't fire me? And that's where I feel like actually we're having great success now, is we're finding all of these people out there who don't have to work for us. A lot of them don't even need the money. They don't need to work, but they want to because they're getting something out of it. They want to be a part of an organization that excites them and do things that they think are interesting. And so how do we serve those needs with our organization? Okay, so just being very conscious of those things. Like I said, depending on where you are right now, if you're adding team members, and this is really going to resonate with you.